Well, joining us now is the Minister for Families and Social Development, Karina Gould. Minister, thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here.
So, listening to the Prime Minister last night as he addressed the members here, the delegates here in the Convention Centre, it seems very obvious from his speech that he believes this next vote is going to be a choice of leadership, the choice between Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre. Do you believe that is the best strategy?
Well, I believe it's the truth, right? I mean, Canadians are going to have a very consequential choice to make in the next election whenever that comes. And it's a choice between a bold vision for Canada that believes in Canadians, that trusts Canadians to, continue to build an inclusive, progressive society and economy, or one that looks to take us backwards, right? I mean, that is the choice that Canadians are going to have. I mean, we've heard from Mr. Poilievre several things, right? The child care initiative, which millions of Canadians, are taking advantage of and is making a life-changing impact for them. Mr. Poilievre called a slush fund, right? On the Volkswagen investment that's happening in St. Thomas, that's going to bring thousands of jobs to a community that lost thousands of jobs under Stephen Harper. Poilievre called a waste of money, right? So Canadians are going to have a choice. They can choose between a leader and a government who believes in them, invests in them, and sees the possibility of their potential, or someone who just wants to, tear things down and take us backwards.
And I appreciate that because, I appreciate that the Liberals make the argument that, it's an embodiment of issues with each leader. Although, Abacus Research, they came out with new polling numbers right before the start of this convention. And when it comes to what are perceived to be the weak spots of Liberal policy right now, it has to do with affordability, it has to do with health care, and those are points that Pierre Poilievre is talking about quite loudly, in particular when it comes to affordability, and he is gaining traction with that message. So how does leadership of these two men and those issues work in favor of the party?
Well, I can just point to the facts. Since we took office in 2015, we've cut poverty rates in half in Canada. What did the Conservatives do? They sent checks to millionaires. Their policy was about making seniors work harder, longer. We reduced the age of retirement back down to 65 from 67, where Conservatives had brought it to, right? When it comes to children living in poverty, there are 450,000 fewer children living in poverty. The issues that Canadians are facing are real, right? Life is expensive right now. Housing is expensive right now. But Poilievre is not putting forward a vision. He's just kind of saying that, these are issues. So Canadians will have a choice. Do they want a government that's going to act on that and who has a proven track record of acting on it? Or do they want a leader who's just kind of putting a mirror up to them and saying, you're right, things are bad?
Okay, well then again, that's affordability, but the other area where the Liberals are perceived to be weak on right now, based on this polling research, is healthcare. And I know your government has made moves to try to improve the situation, but we're still in a reality where millions of Canadians don't even have primary care.
Well, and that's why in March we announced a historic deal with the provinces and territories on the Canada Health Transfer. I mean, we're looking at almost $190 billion over the next 10 years. It's going to be transferred to the provinces on healthcare. But what's really important in this is that there's accountability built in, because provinces now have to demonstrate that they're spending those health transfer dollars on healthcare delivery and services for Canadians. And we have new side agreements, which has never been done in health before, kind of like the agreements that we have in childcare, where we're saying, you know what, we are going to sign specific agreements that will give you a boost to the health transfers, but we want accountability built into it. Remember, the federal government doesn't deliver health care for the majority of Canadians. There are some populations, but most Canadians get their health services delivered through the provinces and territories. And so we are saying, provinces and territories, we're going to make this increase in investment, but we need to see results, and we need to see those delivered.
And at this point, an election certainly by 2025, maybe 2024. So we'll see how that funding will actually translate to how people are feeling in their everyday lives. But speaking of that election, given that it is this Prime Minister and really your party, what you are essentially asking for is a fourth mandate from the Canadian people. Historically, That's rarely ever been given. Most governments last for about 10 years before they're replaced. Are you worried about the party's prospects and trying to convince Canadians that a fourth mandate is deserved by your party?
Look, this Prime Minister and this iteration of the Liberal Party, I think, has defied expectations at every turn, right? And we're going to continue to do that. The issues that you raise are real issues. Canadians are feeling them, but we're responding to them, right? We are saying we hear you, and here's how we're responding, because we hear you and we are going to help make things better. And that's what we have done over the past 7.5 years, and that's what we are going to continue to do. And I think what's exciting about this weekend at this convention, it's the first time Liberals have gathered in 5 years, right? The last time was in Halifax, and you can feel the energy in here. You can feel that people are motivated, they're excited, and that's a reflection, I think, of progressives right across this country.
Without a doubt, you're excited and pumped up. Karina Gould, Minister, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.